Morning everybody, Stephen Kambotrout here, otherwise known as Kambotrout, and I wanted to give you an update for 2019 for what's going to be coming to the Kambotrout fishing channel. So, there's going to be 4 main points to this update. The first are 4 main points to the year to come, put it that way. The first one is going to be an intro, because it occurs to me that as long as I've had this channel, I've never really done an intro, so you don't know anything about me, or unless you really know me outside of the channel. So I'll do an intro video. Number 2 is going to be, I'm going to dedicate a majority of this year to an initiative that I have going on with the Northern Snakehead. I'll get into more of that in a moment. Number 3, changes to the channel in terms of what type of content and what I include in that content throughout the year. And number 4 is going to be things I'm going to be changing up for subscribers. Some different ideas and plans I have in that area. So let's start with the intro. All right. So let's see. I'm born and raised Baltimore, Maryland. I joined the Army right out of high school, about 2 weeks out of high school. And I was in the Army for 12 years. Went twice to Iraq, once to Afghanistan. And over that time, very many interesting experiences and interesting places. But the highlight certainly be that I met my wife in the Army. She's also a U.S. Army veteran. She's now an MD PhD student at the University of Maryland. And also over that time, we acquired 2 dogs, Siberian Huskies, and 3 children. So you've seen them in some of the videos up to this point, more than likely. I've been fishing for pretty much all of my life. I think I started when I was 2 or 3 years old. I'm a multi-species guy, so there are many species I love to target, but there's certainly a few that I'm partial to. So right now, I'm a graduate student at Johns Hopkins University in the public management program. I also homeschool my 3 children, and I work full-time at the American Fishery Society, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's a nonprofit. It's the largest collection of fisheries biologists and professionals in the United States, and which is really interesting to me because even as a lifelong fisherman, I knew nothing about the organization until about 7 months ago, shortly before I started working there. I love my job, puts me in contact with fisheries scientists and biologists from around the country. But I'll get more into that later. I'll probably dedicate a video to that as well. So moving on to point number 2. The biggest initiative I'm going to have probably with this year is going to be doing my part to reform the image and rehabilitate the image of the Northern Snakehead. Because as a result of media sensationalism at the point of their introduction in the DELMARVA area, probably about, early 2000s? You had the Frankenfish connotation, like they're attacking people, they're going to kill all the native species. And folks, the science to date, every single scientific study performed to date, has failed to demonstrate any ecological, biological, or economic harm as a result of the Northern Snakehead. None. Absolutely none. And that seems like a really big statement to people who haven't been exposed to this knowledge before. So to that end, I recently conducted an interview with arguably the nation's leading Northern Snakehead expert, like the nation's leading Northern Snakehead expert, Mr. John Odenkirk. And we covered a wide range of information. And I can't wait to post it. I know it's going to be contentious because there's a lot of misinformation out there up to this point, but it's something I really believe in dedicating myself to because I've grown to love these fish. Now, with that being said, I'm not an impartial party. I'm not sure if such a thing exists. Like, I truly do love Northern Snakehead. From what I've seen, they're excellent parents. You see how defensive they are around their fry. And they're just fascinating creatures. They're a challenge. They're gorgeous to me at this point. They're just an incredible fish. But while I'm not impartial, I give you my word that I will present the evidence objectively. Wherever the evidence leads, that's where I'm going to go. And if you have other evidence that contradicts what I'm saying, please feel free to post it. But try to do so, let's do it like adults. Let's do it respectively, okay? Let's have an actual quality conversation where we can work with each other and learn as opposed to just flinging vitriol back and forth. That's not what I'm about. It's a waste of time. And I hate drama. I hate drama, okay? Anyway, that's the big initiative for the channel this year. Number 3, I'm going to be changing the content that I put out. Number 1, I'm going to be putting out a little more educational content, and not boring educational content, but educational content around what types of fish you should harvest, when you should harvest them. You know, a lot of different points that are going to be useful to us fishermen, and maybe some like biological profiles of various species, because as a fisherman, I find this stuff very interesting. Just because I'm curious and I like to know more about the fish I'm trying to catch. The other change to the content this year, let's start here. I began this channel fishing down in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia specifically. The human population density in Augusta, Georgia is nowhere near what it is here in the Northeast, here in the DELMARVA area, the Maryland area. As a result, when I was down there, like I started this channel with the primary focus being getting people into the outdoors, letting them know what was around them so they could really get out there and enjoy it, take their kids out, get them into the outdoors. Because aside from it being just an experience that I love and want other people to enjoy, there are even scientific benefits to actually being in the outdoors. So, what's different? What's going to have to change? I used to leave a trail of breadcrumbs, I call it that, to help people find where I was fishing. In most cases, there were some exceptions, but in most cases, I wouldn't give the exact name of where I was, but I would, for instance, give the county in which I was fishing. And my basic rationale was those people who are willing to dedicate the effort to do the research to find these areas, to follow the trail of breadcrumbs, will be the same individuals who have done enough research to know it's important to take care of these areas, to not over-harvest, to not trash the areas, to not disrespect the areas. And whether it's just a result of there being more people around here, and as a result there being numerically more people who are willing to trash and over-harvest an area, the bottom line is I'm going to be leaving those trail of breadcrumbs less and less, especially with certain species that are highly sensitive to overfishing pressure. So I'm sorry about that if you've been following my breadcrumbs, if you've been looking for these locations that way. But unless it's a really well-known location that I believe can handle the fishing pressure, say like a Sandy Point State Park or something like that, I'm not going to provide that trail. If I think it's a sensitive species, I'm not going to provide that trail. If I think it's a sensitive area, I'm not going to provide that trail. And that's just the way it is until we can hopefully have some mutually beneficial conversations within the fishing community to help educate people on the importance of picking up trash when you go out, not leaving your trash behind, not over-harvesting. Until we can have that kind of conversation on the regular, I just can't do it. I can't operate this channel in a responsible manner because I do care. I care a lot about the environment and these fish species out there. That's one big reason I work at the American Fisheries Society. They're dedicated to responsible fisheries management. So that's one change that's coming. And finally, the fourth one here. I have received a lot of requests from people who want to go out fishing. So I've started a spreadsheet of subscribers who want to go out fishing sometime. And I've already met up with a few, but this year in 2019, I plan on meeting with a lot more. So if you're interested in going out and fishing sometime, whether it's for snakehead or something else, just let me know. But there will be some stipulations to that. I'll go into more of that probably after I go through the Odenkirk interview and the scientific evidence that's out there on species like the snakehead, on those sensitive species. If you come out with me and I show you this kind of stuff, like for instance, it would be a stipulation if I'm going to take you out snakehead fishing. You really only keep one fish, maybe two, and they can only be like in a certain slot limit range. Because I really, truly give a damn about these fish. Because a lot of people are still out there in the kill 'em all mode. Because they were led astray by sensationalist media. And now the science is trying to catch up, and the regulations lag even behind the science. It's going to take a while, so it's on us, okay? Us taking care of these fisheries is on us. And I want to be a part of that, doing it responsibly, not taking advantage of it. So I think that's long enough for a channel update. A lot more content coming out. I'll be posting the John Odenkirk interview on the Northern Snakehead to dispel all the myths and misconceptions around that fish. I'll be posting that very shortly, in probably the next couple of weeks at the very latest. And, well, we'll go from there. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. But again, I want to drive this point home. My background, I was in the military for 12 years. At tactical level, strategic level, I've been all around the world, met all kinds of people, had all kinds of conversations. I'm a political science and philosophy background in terms of my undergrad, along with sociology. I don't have a problem discussing controversial topics. If there's something I say or something I do that you disagree with, let me know. And I'm more than willing to talk about it, debate it, whatever you want to do. My only request, can we do it civilly? Because here's the thing. If you want to get across a point, if you're trying to communicate with someone to change their mind, the fastest way to work against that goal is to attack someone. Now, I'm aware of that fact, so I try to usually de-escalate the situation to a point where we can have a constructive conversation. But a lot of people don't operate that way. You attack them, they attack you, and then you're just flinging crap back and forth. What's the point? Is your goal on there to come on there and have a fight, or was it to actually come on there and make a point and hopefully change someone's behavior in a way that you view as beneficial? So just a thought. If you're going to come on the channel, I'll be respectful to you, you be respectful to me, and maybe we'll find some really quality beneficial ground, some mutually beneficial ground. All right? So, I look forward to making content for you. God knows I'm busy as hell, so if you see any content on here, you can guarantee it was worked on in the wee morning hours. That's the only time I have available to work on videos. And I'm looking forward to what 2019 is going to bring. I got some big trips in mind around the country. So, thanks for your time. Please subscribe, and, well, let's have a great year.